Narrator, don't go home. There's danger there. The words hung in the air like smoke, twisting, suffocating. A gypsy woman, her eyes dark pools of something ancient, had whispered them as my husband stepped out the door. And just like that, our lives teetered on the edge of something unimaginable. I had never believed in omens. Superstitions were just stories adults told children to keep them in line. But tonight was different. Tonight, the air itself felt heavy, almost alive, as though the house was holding its breath, waiting. He had been confident, always the protector, the one who reassured me when shadows stretched too long across our walls. But tonight, as he left, there was a tremor in his hand, a hesitation in his step that I had never seen before. I tried to call after him. His name caught in my throat. The rain swallowed my words. The gypsy had taken my hand, her grip firm, unnervingly cold. He doesn't know. He cannot see what follows. Stay inside, lock the doors. And wait. That word replayed in my mind as I watched the door swing closed. I should have ignored it. I should have laughed. But some instincts you cannot ignore. I moved through the house, each creaking floorboard echoing like a gunshot. Outside, the streetlights flickered. A shadow darted past the edge of the window. I told myself it was nothing, just the wind, just a stray animal, just paranoia. And then I heard it. The first scream. It was distant at first, a low wail carried by the wind. But it grew sharper, closer, like nails scratching against glass. My heart raced, my mind screamed for me to run. But where? He was out there. He had gone out there despite the warning. I grabbed my coat, my shoes, anything I could use as protection, and ran toward the door. My hands were trembling, my breath came in sharp bursts. The rain drenched me instantly, cold and biting, but I didn't stop. Outside, the street was eerily quiet. Houses that were usually alive with light and sound were dark, empty, as though the world had paused and was holding its breath. And then, a figure appeared at the end of the street. It was him, my husband, but he wasn't walking. He was staggering, dragging one leg, his face pale and twisted in fear. And behind him, shadows moved. Not human, not animal, but something that defied reason, fluid and black, devouring the light around it. "Run!" he gasped, voice broken. His eyes were wide with terror, searching mine for some hope. "Run before it finds you." Before I could respond, a figure lunged from the darkness. Fast, relentless, I screamed, stumbling backward. My husband's hand found mine, pulling me toward a narrow alley. We ran, hearts pounding, rain soaking through every layer of clothing, the shadows chasing us, silent but deadly. We ducked behind a dumpster, catching our breath. My husband's chest heaved, his eyes haunted. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was a prank, but it's real." "What is real?" I demanded, voice cracking. "What's happening?" He shook his head, words failing him. And in that moment, the world shifted. A figure stepped into the alley behind us, impossibly tall, faceless, its presence pressing down on us like a storm. And then, without warning, it vanished. Just like that. But the memory of it burned into my mind. Its absence didn't make it safe. It only made it worse, because now we knew what was out there. We had to get back home, but the streets were no longer familiar. Every corner seemed alive, every shadow a threat. And deep down, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't random. This was personal. Someone or something was hunting him. Hunted us, and I had no idea why. We ducked into a small convenience store, the flickering fluorescent lights barely keeping the darkness at bay. I called the police, but all lines were dead. The rain and the storm seemed to swallow every signal, every connection to the outside world. He whispered, voice trembling. "I should have listened to her. The gypsy. She knew, she always knows." I pressed my forehead to his shoulder. "Then tell me everything. Start from the beginning." And that's when he did. The story that would change everything we believed about our lives, about who we are, and the darkness that had been following him long before I ever met him. But as he spoke, I realized the danger wasn't just outside. It had followed us inside, into the very walls of our lives. And there was no escaping it. The street outside exploded with a deafening noise. Glass shattered, screams. The shadows, they were here. And in the middle of the chaos, I saw him. My husband standing frozen, staring at something behind me. I turned, and that's when I saw it. A shadow, moving impossibly fast, slipping through the cracks of reality itself, heading straight for us. The world returned in fragments. Rain-soaked asphalt, flickering streetlights, the smell of wet concrete. My body ached as I scrambled to my feet, heart hammering, lungs burning. My husband's hand found mine again, but it was trembling, barely holding on. What? What was that? I whispered, voice raw. He shook his head, eyes wide and haunted. I don't know, it shouldn't exist. But it's been following me. For years, and now, it's here. We ran blindly, slipping through alleys, the storm masking the sound of our escape. Yet every step carried a chilling certainty. The shadows weren't just chasing us. They were herding us, forcing us toward something, some endgame we couldn't yet see. I wanted to scream, to stop, to demand answers. But the fear in his eyes silenced me. He had never looked like that. Not once. Even in our darkest moments before, there had always been hope. Now, only terror. We ducked into an abandoned parking garage, the kind of place where echoes became monsters. My husband collapsed onto the cold concrete, hands covering his face. I've tried to fight it, he said finally, voice barely above a whisper. I thought if I ignored it, if I lived, it would leave me alone. But it doesn't. It never leaves. I sat beside him, shivering. Then tell me, what is it? Why is it here now? He looked up, eyes locking with mine, haunted by memories too heavy to share. It started with a man, someone I trusted. He was different, powerful in ways I couldn't understand at the time. He drew it, something dark, into my life. And once it touched me, nothing would ever be the same. I swallowed hard. What does it want? His lips trembled. Not me, not yet, us. Everything we've built, our home, our life. It wants to consume the safety, the love, the hope. It feeds on it. A distant crash echoed through the garage. Shadows flickered across the concrete walls, stretching impossibly long, moving like living ink. My stomach dropped. The shadows weren't just outside, they were inside, everywhere. I grabbed his hand. Then we fight it, together. He shook his head. You don't understand. You can't fight this like a normal enemy. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't tire. And it knows you, everything about you. And then I felt it, a creeping chill crawling up my spine. A presence, heavy and suffocating, pressing down like the weight of the storm itself. I turned slowly, and my blood ran cold. The shadows were not static. They moved with intent, converging toward the exit we had come from. They were closing in. We bolted, running through the labyrinthine structure. Every corner we turned, the shadows anticipated, shifting faster than our eyes could follow. Every reflection in broken glass, every puddle, showed us multiplied, trapped, alone. Finally, we stumbled onto the street, and the storm had intensified. Rain pelted us like shards of ice, thunder rolling across the sky. But there, at the edge of the street, was something we had not expected. The gypsy woman. She was calm, her presence cutting through the chaos like a beacon. You should not have left, she said softly. But you came when you had no choice. Can you stop it? I demanded. Can anyone stop this thing? Her eyes darkened. Stop it? No. But perhaps you can survive it. There is a way through fear, a way through darkness, but it will demand everything from you both, your trust, your courage, your hearts. My husband stepped forward. What do we need to do? The gypsy shook her head slowly. You will know when the time comes. Until then, run, hide, prepare. The shadows are clever, patient, and cruel, and they will not relent. Before I could ask more, the shadows reappeared, converging from every direction. The gypsy grabbed our hands, pulling us through a narrow alley we had never noticed before. The walls closed in, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something rotten and alive. We emerged into a hidden courtyard, surrounded by high walls, the storm muted as though the world itself dared not intrude here. The gypsy let go of our hands, turning to us with a grave expression. This is only the beginning. What you face now will change everything you thought you knew about life, about love, about evil. My husband fell to his knees, head in his hands. I can't keep running, he whispered. I can't, it's in my blood. It's in my past. I've tried to escape it my whole life, but... I knelt beside him, gripping his shoulders. Then we face it, together. No matter what comes, the gypsy's lips curled into a small, grim smile. Bravery alone will not save you. You must see beyond the shadows, into the truth they hide. And beware, not everything you trust is what it seems. The wind picked up again, rattling the walls, and from the darkness beyond, a low, resonant growl rolled through the night. The shadows had found us again. They were patient, relentless, and they were learning. And then, a voice rang out, clear and cruel, slicing through the storm. "Did you really think you could hide from me?" It was his voice. My husband's voice, but twisted, malicious, impossible. We turned slowly. Across the courtyard, the shadows coalesced into a form, a mirror image of him, perfect in every detail, but radiating something monstrous, something inhuman. The air grew heavy, the storm paused, and my heart stopped. And then he smiled. The courtyard fell silent, the storm holding its breath. The shadow of my husband stood before us, perfectly mimicking every feature, every movement, but it was not him. Its eyes glowed faintly, black as the void, reflecting nothing but hunger. "I am him," it said, voice a chilling echo. "I am what he fears, what he cannot admit. I am the truth he hides from you." My husband fell backward onto the wet cobblestones, shaking his head violently. "No, that's not possible. That's impossible." I grabbed his hand, refusing to let the shadow see fear in me. "Then tell me the truth. What is this? What are you?" He looked at me, despair etched into every line of his face. "It's me, but not me. Something has been feeding off my life for decades. Every failure, every regret, every secret. It's consumed them, twisted them, and now it wears my face. It knows me better than I know myself." The shadow laughed, a sound that seemed to scrape at the very air, freezing my blood. "I know everything, every thought, every desire, every weakness. And now I claim what is mine." The wind howled as the shadows behind it began to ripple and grow, reaching like black smoke toward us. I tightened my grip on my husband's hand, refusing to let the fear take hold. "We can fight this," I said firmly, though my voice trembled. "There has to be a way." He shook his head. "You don't understand. This isn't something you can fight with strength. This is a reflection, a mirror. And mirrors show truth, not lies. If you try to destroy it, you destroy him too. It's tethered to me in ways I can't explain." The shadow took a step closer, and I realized something terrifying. It didn't just mimic him, it anticipated him. Every instinct, every reflex my husband had ever learned, the shadow mirrored with precision. "This ends tonight," the shadow said. "Either he surrenders, or everything he loves will burn." My husband's knees buckled. I hugged him, whispering, "We'll find a way." "We always do." The gypsy woman appeared beside us again, her presence like a flame in the darkness. "There is a way," she said, "but it requires trust you have never had to give. One of you must confront the shadow directly, face the darkest truth within, or all is lost." "What truth?" I demanded. She raised a hand, pointing at my husband. "The shadow is not just his. It is yours too. Your doubt, your fear, your secrets. It feeds on what is hidden, what is denied. You must face it together, or it will consume everything you hold dear." The shadow laughed again. "Together? How touching. But sentiment does not stop me. Fear does, pain does. Loss does, and I have all of it." My husband looked at me, tears streaking his rain-drenched face. "I should have told you. There are things I've done, things I've hidden, things I thought I buried long ago, but it knows them all. And now what?" I pressed. "Now, it wants to finish me, or finish us." The shadow advanced, a swirling mass of black mist, yet with that impossibly human face. It raised a hand and suddenly the world seemed to twist. The courtyard bent, walls stretching, shadows swallowing the corners. We were no longer in a place, but a reflection of every fear we had ever held. I screamed, clutching him, "We have to fight it." "Together," the gypsy shook her head. "Fight the shadow, yes, but not with weapons. Fight it with truth. Reveal what it wants to hide. Admit your fear. Admit your past. Admit love. Admit everything." My husband hesitated, fear paralyzing him. I can't. I've made mistakes. I've hurt people. His voice broke. I grabbed his face, looking into his eyes. "Then say it all. Say it loud. Let it hear the real you, not the mask. Only then can we survive." The shadow froze, its form flickering like a candle in a storm. Its smile faltered. No. This is not how it is supposed to happen." I realized then, the shadow's strength came from denial, from lies, from secrets kept buried. The moment we exposed truth, it weakened. He took a deep breath. I have hidden things from you. Things I thought would protect you, but they only brought this darkness closer." I am sorry, I am not perfect. I am scared, I love you. The shadow shrieked, a sound that split the air. Its form shivered and convulsed. The darkness around it roared, trying to maintain itself, but it faltered. I joined him, my voice strong despite the storm. We face it together. We are not afraid. We are stronger than your lies, stronger than your fear. You do not control us. The shadow froze entirely, flickering like dying embers. My husband stepped forward, hand trembling, and touched its chest. The dark form convulsed, a silent scream echoing through the twisted air, and then, explosively, it dissolved. The shadows scattered like mist under the sun, leaving the courtyard eerily silent. My husband collapsed into my arms, exhausted, trembling. Is it over? He whispered. I held him tight. I don't know, but we faced it, together, and that counts for something. The gypsy woman appeared one last time, her eyes gleaming. This battle is won, but the war is not over. The truth is a knife, sharp, necessary, and dangerous. Guard it well, for what follows may be darker than anything you have seen. And then she was gone, leaving us alone in the rain-soaked courtyard, hearts pounding, eyes wide, unsure of what was real and what was left behind. A faint whisper brushed my ear, almost lost in the storm. This was only the beginning. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the air felt heavier, thick with anticipation. We were still in the courtyard, soaked, trembling, but alive, or at least we thought we were. The first shadow was gone, dissolved into nothing, leaving only echoes of its voice and the terror it had carried. Then I saw it. At the far edge of the courtyard, a figure stepped out of the mist. Smaller than the first, yet far more menacing, its movement deliberate, almost sentient. It was my husband, again, but not exactly. This time, something darker pulsed behind his eyes, a reflection of rage and malice that the first shadow had never shown. My husband's hand shot to mine instinctively. No, this isn't possible. I defeated it. How? The new shadow spoke, voice a deep, hollow resonance. You defeated the reflection of your fear. But fear alone does not define you. Anger, regret, guilt, these are my weapons. These are the parts of you you've never faced. I am the truth you refuse to see. My chest tightened. Another one? How many are there? The shadow laughed, a sound that seemed to fracture the night. Countless. Every secret, every lie, every moment you ignored your own darkness creates me. I am patient, I am inevitable. And now, I rise. My husband fell to his knees, despair flooding him. I can't do this. I can't face this. I crouched beside him, voice firm. Yes, you can. We've survived this long. We face it together. You're not alone, not this time. The shadow advanced, and the courtyard seemed to twist again. The walls bent unnaturally, the ground cracking beneath our feet, shadows crawling like snakes. I realized then, the world around us had become part of the shadow's power. Reality itself was bending to its will. The gypsy appeared again, her eyes blazing. This is no longer just fear. This is every unspoken truth, every regret, every darkness you carry inside. You must confront it fully. You must go deeper than before. Only then can it end. My husband looked at me, face pale and drenched with rain. I don't know if I can. I've hidden so much. I've failed so many. I've hurt people I love. If I face this, I don't know if I'll survive it. I took both his hands. Then I'll go with you. We face it together. Whatever it is, whatever it shows, we survive or we fall together. The shadow's form shifted, growing taller, more jagged, more terrifying. Ah, love, how fragile, how beautiful. You think togetherness matters, but it makes you weak, vulnerable, and I thrive on that vulnerability. A gust of wind blew, and suddenly the courtyard split into mirrored fragments, reflections of ourselves and our world scattered in shards across the ground. Each reflection carried a version of the shadow, an echo of our past mistakes, a distorted vision of our worst selves. This is it, the gypsy said softly. Face them, face all of it. Only when the heart accepts the truth can the shadow be banished. We stepped forward, one shard at a time, the shadows converging, circling, whispering secrets and lies, tempting us to falter. The first shadow had been a warning. This was the reckoning. I realized something terrifying. The shadow could manipulate memories. I saw images of our past, arguments, betrayals, secrets I didn't even know he had. It twisted them, showed them as weapons, attacking our bond, trying to break our trust. He turned to me, eyes glistening. Don't let it get to you. Don't believe it's lies. I love you. That's real, that's truth. I nodded. Then we use that. That's our weapon. We walked into the heart of the mirrored courtyard, confronting the shadow directly. Its eyes, glowing red-black, locked onto us. It lunged. But this time, we did not flinch. We faced it together, holding hands, hearts aligned, voices joined. You do not define us. You do not control us. We accept our past, we accept ourselves. And we will survive. The shadow recoiled, its form flickering violently. Its whispers became screams. No, you cannot. You're too strong. For the first time, it faltered, losing coherence. Its power weakened with every truth we spoke, every acknowledgement of fear, guilt, love, and hope. The mirrored fragments shattered one by one, breaking the shadow's hold on reality. And then, it happened. The shadow split into 1,000 tiny forms, screaming, writhing, each fragment attempting to escape. But none could withstand the light of truth we carried. With a final ear-splitting roar, it dissolved entirely, vanishing into the rain-soaked night. My husband sank to his knees, exhausted beyond words. I held him tight, feeling the tremors of fear and relief coursing through both of us. Is it really over? I asked softly. He shook his head slowly. I don't know, but we faced it. We survived it together, and maybe that's enough. The gypsy appeared one last time, her expression unreadable. You have passed this trial, but remember, light and darkness are two sides of the same coin. Guard what you have learned. For every shadow you conquer, another may rise if fear takes hold again. And then she vanished into the night, leaving us alone in the drenched courtyard, exhausted, alive, but forever changed. We stood together, rain mixing with tears, the storm clearing slightly to reveal the first hint of dawn. We had survived the impossible, faced the darkest parts of ourselves, and come out stronger. But in the distance, across the horizon, I glimpsed a flicker, a shadow, moving where none should be. A whisper of warning carried on the wind, and I knew our battle was over for now, but the world held more darkness than we could ever imagine. The rain had stopped, leaving the world slick and silent. The storm had passed, but its echoes remained, lingering like a memory we couldn't shake. My husband and I stood side by side, soaked and trembling, hearts still racing from the horrors we had faced. I looked at him, really looked, and saw the weight he had carried for years, the secrets, the fear, the guilt. But I also saw strength, resilience, a man who had faced the darkness inside himself and survived. We did it, I whispered. My voice sounded fragile against the quiet dawn. He shook his head, exhaustion etched into every line of his face. We survived, but I can't forget. I can't pretend it's over. I reached for his hand. We don't have to pretend, but surviving means moving forward. Facing life together, that's the real victory. The courtyard was quiet now, bathed in the first light of morning. Every puddle reflected the pale sunrise, and the shadows of the night seemed to dissolve with the growing light. Then I saw her, the gypsy woman, emerging from the mist. Her expression was softer now, almost maternal. She approached, slow and deliberate, as though she carried the weight of centuries in her steps. You've done more than survive, she said. You've embraced truth. You've faced fear, guilt, and love in their rawest forms. Few can endure that without breaking. You have shown courage, the kind that echoes beyond one lifetime. My husband swallowed hard, but the shadows, they might come back. There's always another one, always something waiting. The gypsy shook her head, perhaps. But you now know the truth. Darkness only has power where it is hidden, where it is denied. Light and honesty will always be your weapon. And together, you have learned how to wield it. I glanced at my husband, a smile trembling on my lips despite the exhaustion. Then let's go home. Not because it's safe, but because it's ours. And whatever comes next, we face it as one. We walked back toward our house, the wet streets shimmering in the dawn light. Each step felt heavier than the last, yet lighter too, as though the weight of the night was finally lifting. As we approached our front door, I felt a strange stillness in the air. I paused, sensing something just beyond perception. A shadow flickered at the edge of the street, not the first, not the second, but faint, almost imperceptible. My husband noticed it too. Do you feel that? I nodded, heart racing. Yes, but we're not afraid anymore. The shadow wavered, a ripple in the corner of reality, then vanished completely. The world exhaled, releasing the tension that had gripped it for so long. Inside, the house was quiet, familiar, ordinary, safe, not because danger had gone, but because we had changed. We had faced the unimaginable, confronted our deepest fears, and survived. That gave us a strength that no darkness could take. We sat together in the living room, drenched, exhausted, but holding on to each other like never before. Words were unnecessary. Silence carried the weight of everything we had endured. Then my husband spoke, voice low but steady. I don't know what the future holds. Shadows may rise again, but tonight, I know we can face anything, together. I smiled, leaning my head on his shoulder. Together. The sun broke fully over the horizon, spilling light into every corner of the room. And for the first time since the nightmare began, it felt like more than survival. It felt like hope. But just as I was beginning to believe that this chapter was truly over, a soft whisper floated through the room, almost playful, almost taunting. You may have won, but some truths are eternal. We froze, exchanging a glance that spoke volumes. The threat was not gone. Perhaps it never truly could be. But for now, we were alive, together. And for the first time, that felt like enough. My husband squeezed my hand. Whatever comes, we face it. No running, no hiding. Together. I nodded. No matter what. The camera panned slowly to the window, the rising sun illuminating the wet streets outside. Everything seems calm, peaceful. But in the distance, just at the edge of perception, a shadow stirs. A reminder that darkness never truly sleeps.